What's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fans? This your boy JB, hosted the Behind the Bench podcast networking channel, giving a shout out to the rest of the crew. Shy, Kelvin, Jermaine, KB Film Room, Big Dog, Talk Sports. That's right, that's right. For everyone who's tuning in, thank you for supporting Behind the Bench. Subscribe to the channel. Help make the show the best that it can be. NBA, that's where it's at. It's been a lot of discussion about the NBA over the past week, particularly with stemmed what we witnessed during All-Star weekend and the deterioration of the game itself, the All-Star game, the slam dunk contest, even the three-point shooting contest has lost its luster. It's losing its luster, I should say. And there's been talks. I mean, you've had, athletes from representing or playing other sports chime in and give their input. And there's a lot of frustration, a lot of confusion about what's going on, a lot of dissension, a lot of chaos. And quite frankly, the environment is toxic. And this is what was said about the whole environment as a whole approximately 6 years ago, when you first heard of the word toxic being associated with a sports league, a professional sports league. And to me, like when we do these videos on Behind the Bench, when we talk about voice our concerns, man, we're not doing it, as well as myself, we're not doing it to downgrade the sport. We're not doing it to downgrade the league. We're not doing it to downgrade the current era of basketball. It's not about that, man. But there is a problem. There is a problem that is continuing to make its presence known on a year-to-year basis. That's all like it is resonating in such a profound way that there's really only two options. You really cannot stand pat at this point. Now, you're going to have people out there that's going to say everything is peachy keen, and they'll say that the only people that's complaining are quote unquote old heads and all this stuff, man. Either you're going to roll with the situation, or the NBA, as we know it, man, it can reach a point of no return. Now, it can always exist, but nowhere near the prominence that it has boasted or earned, I should say, or built itself up to over, decades and decades and decades. And all I can say is this, man. You know what would stem the tide? You know what would stem the tide? I think this would be a perfect case scenario. If we saw the two best teams in the league so far this season, first place in the Eastern Conference, first place in the Western Conference, and they both share the same record, like 46 wins, 10 losses, somewhere around there. The Cleveland Cavaliers and the Oklahoma City Thunder, if they met up and clashed in the NBA Finals. Or let's say a team like the Denver Nuggets. Denver Nuggets, they built themselves up, after drafting Nikola Jokic back in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around there, 2015, 2016. He been in the league about 10 years. He's in his prime, and they built up with Jamal Murray and, Michael Porter Jr. They made key moves by bringing in Aaron Gordon, and they continue to draft talent, Christian Braun, Jeremy Strother, and people like that. And they've been on the roll, and as of right now, they're sitting in second place in the Western Conference. Or the Boston Celtics. Boston Celtics, defending NBA champions. They had a little, it's hard to repeat. They had a little slump period. Now they seem like they're trying to turn it around down the stretch of the season, getting ready for the postseason. But I would love to see the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Cleveland Cavaliers face each other in the finals. Because, see, that what that's going to show? Number one, is going to show that you can build your team up to championship status, just like teams did in the past decades. Some teams had long-standing runs, like 7, 8 year runs. Some teams became dynasties. The Boston Celtics, the LA Lakers, the New York Knicks, the Philadelphia 76ers, was a very successful franchise up until like the 80s, up until the mid 80s. We've seen the San Antonio Spurs do it over 20 years. And we've seen the Lakers bounce back in different versions of itself and generate another championship run. So Golden State started from scratch. So to see those two teams reach the finals and go against each other for basketball supremacy, I believe it will kickstart the league and finally moving forward. I believe that in my heart of hearts, because at that point, you can't keep on talking about, there was a report saying that Golden State, I'm not saying it's true or not, but Golden State was trying to, acquire the Hurricane, LeBron James and Kevin Durant, to pair up with Steph Curry. I mean, what are we talking about, man? And I'm telling you, as I've been saying, the main problem that's going on with the NBA is competition became devalued, man. It's as simple as that. Competition became devalued. Young talent became devalued. Draft picks became devalued. The salary cap, or the history, became devalued. Real championship teams became devalued. The contributions of past greats have been devalued. Even current greats that led 18 championships without stacking the deck, they became devalued. Look at Jason Tatum, man. Here go a guy who helped lead his team to the championship last year, the Boston Celtics, their 18th championship in franchise history. And he's been a cornerstone for the Boston Celtics ever since he was drafted back in 2017. He competes. He plays hard. For the most part, he's durable. He plays just about every game. And look what happened to him during those Olympics, man, last year. If anything, he should have been the player that was most highlighted, because he's the newfound champion. He's the newly crowned champion. Now, then Jaylen Brown, he should have been on the team. He didn't make the team. So it's almost like their championship that they just clinched, it became devalued to where they don't even come across as being the defending champions, man. And a lot of this is narrative based, because they want to see certain people win. That's not how the NBA functioned then, man. I can guarantee it. It wasn't about, well, we want to see Magic win every year. It wasn't about, we want to see Larry Bird win every year. It was about, we want to see the best go up against the best for that particular year. That's what it was about. That's what it was about, because when the Detroit Pistons broke through, the Bad Boy Pistons won their first championship in '89 by beating the Celtics in the postseason for 2 straight years, and then by beating the Lakers in the finals, having to get through Michael Jordan. That was a task within itself. So they became the top team during their championship run, right? It wasn't about, oh man, what can Boston do? What can we push for, or try to dictate for Bird to get another championship, or for Magic to get another championship, or what can we do to help Dominique get a ring? It wasn't like that, man. It was about whoever's the best, prove to be the best. That's who was going to get the shine and the prominence by season's end that would carry over to the next year. It was based on performance on the court. Narratives were not even part of the landscape, man. I'm telling you, were there biases per se? Yeah, everybody has biases. But I'm talking about a clear-cut agenda that is pushed day after day after day, year after game after game after game, year after year after year. It was a totally different level, man. And that's why the NBA, man, it just grew by leaps and bounds to where, by the time the Barcelona Olympics took place in 1992, featuring the original Dream Team, well, at that point, basketball achieved global prominence. Wow. Which spawned and inspired international athletes to pursue a career, not just in basketball, but in the NBA. And look what they try to do to the original Dream Team. Try to diminish their importance, their contribution to the sport, their contribution to the landscape. It became self-serving. And when it's really about each team that represented the United States from 1992 to the present, it's about them representing America, United States of America. Or let's just say the country. Just as other countries represent, players from other countries represent their sovereignty. You know what I'm saying? So this whole attempt to downgrade the past has led to this malaise. And it's like the NBA discourse is stuck in neutral and is suffocating along with this superficial, manufactured, generated GOAT debate. And I believe that if those two teams met up in the finals, man, it would finally break the bank and push these talking heads to finally start talking about the future and these young stars. You don't want to disregard the past stars, but it's time to move on. Because if you look at it, Kevin Durant is in a situation where he's not going to win down there in Phoenix. The Hurricane, even though they tried everything, hook and ladder, man, they moved every mountain possible from the Himalayas on up, man. They tried to create virtual reality to help this dude win. And he's no closer than he was last year. He was no closer than he was 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, or year one. Outside of that 1 year in the bubble, it's been nothing. It's been all talk. Now, Stephen Curry's case, that's just a situation where a team has had a run. They had a long-standing run, 4 championships in 8 years. You really cannot ask no more than that. But they just had a run. You look at Philadelphia. They're not going to do nothing there. They're not going to even make the playoffs. They won't even make the play-in. So the landscape is literally dictating and screaming out, it's time to finally move forward. And that's what this league needs to do, man. Because if not, man, the league will just stagnate and it'll fall by the wayside. That's what's good. And I know that may seem impossible, but as they say, Rome eventually collapsed. And they never thought the Roman Empire would do so until it happened. Then it became a part of history. You see what I'm saying? It can happen. That's why, see, the key to the success of the NBA and just professional sports leagues in general is when you starting to see the league grow, well, to make that possible, you have to appreciate and highlight the contribution of those who came before you. Not saying you have to do it every day or every time you talk about basketball, but when you reflect back and say, wow, look how far the NBA has come. Well, if you disregard the past, well, you misrepresent, you change the whole scope, and then the present gets altered, and then the future practically becomes, it's almost like the future eventually staves off into oblivion if you don't understand what made the league great. And basically, what I mean by making the league great, you don't even have to, you really don't have to recall or know or have knowledge about every single player who played in the past, but understand the standard that was set. That's the key to it, man. That's the key to it, because when I started watching the NBA, I didn't know who Jerry West was, Elgin Baylor was, or Will Chamberlain was until I started learning about them. But it was made possible by those voices covering the league, making sure that we knew of those past greats. They helped make the league become what we gravitated to when we started watching professional basketball. That's the formula, man. And then you just continue to build on it, man. And then in a lot of ways you can exceed expectations, but it's about maintaining the standard. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. As long as you're a player in this league, man, that's making a positive contribution and competing and playing up to the best of your ability, that's all people are going to ask for. You don't have to be the greatest to be appreciated. There's been a lot of players who I've been a fan of, man, that won't be considered the greatest, but they made a positive contribution to the sport, to their team, to the fans in their own unique way. Where they was like, man, that dude, man, hey, that dude was a baller when he played. You know what I'm saying? And if someone say that about you as a player, man, that dude was a baller, man, you've already won. But this GOAT talk is literally suffocating the NBA, man. And the NBA is stuck. And the overall play is becoming redundant and stagnant. And that's why you hear so many people saying, oh man, it's boring now when you watch these games, man. But if there's teams out there that's playing good basketball, and the teams out there playing good basketball, for the most part, they're sitting atop the standings. It's as simple as that. Yes, they shoot 3-pointers, but they get the ball inside. They have players who can create, they shut off a dribble drive. You got guys who can pull up and hit the mid-range jumper. So it's a lot of exaggeration on both ends. That's what I'm trying to say. But I think, man, the young players that's out here playing hard, man. See, you have to, you have to maintain the standard, respect the past contribution, uphold the history of the game, and also anything that's proven to be detrimental to the league has to be resolved, man. It has to be. The All-Star game didn't just become what it is now overnight. There were circumstances and events and decisions that was made that led to this predicament. And if you trace it back and find the root of the problem, then you begin to correct the problem, then you can move forward. But you gotta move beyond this GOAT talk because it's unwarranted. But I think those two teams reaching the finals, man, I think it would be like a catharsis, man. Just like when they played each other the first time, because they played each other twice this year. They split both games. Cleveland won the first game at home, and then Oklahoma City won in big fashion at home. But man, the first game, man, I couldn't wait to watch it. I was like, man, these are the two best teams in the league. Cleveland had won something like what? How many games did they win in a row? It was like 17, 18 in a row. And OKC had won like 15 in a row. So it was a lot of momentum that led to that anticipation for that game, man. And for the most part, man, they didn't sell nobody short. I got my money's worth. So it's still there, man. It's still there. But you have to move beyond this malaise and these agendas and these narratives, man. And they have to stop trying to disrespect what Michael Jordan achieved, dog. When you start doing that, man, it's open season on everybody. You lowering the bar to do that, man. You have to misrepresent history, man. And that's when everything is discombobulated and things get haywire, man. You see what I'm saying? The history is a history. No matter what they try to do. 6-0 is 6-0. No matter what they try to do or try to discredit. They weren't trying to, when he went 6-0 in real time, When he was actually doing it, they want to say, oh man, Scottie Pippen bailed him out, man, and this and that. He played weak competition. They weren't saying that then. They were saying, man, Phoenix is a hell of a team. Portland is the deepest team in the league. Seattle got Peyton and Kemp, the glove, and the Rain Man. Stockton and Malone, Utah, winning 64 games, 62 games. The Lakers, Magic Johnson, Vlade Divac, James Worthy, Byron Scott. They upset Portland in the Western Conference Finals, so they must have been hellified good to get to the finals because Portland was favored to win it all in 91 over everybody. Over the two-time defending champion Pistons, over the Chicago Bulls, and the Lakers, and everybody else in between. So the Lakers had to be good to beat Portland to get there. So, if this happened, man, this would be the best case scenario for the league. And it's time to stop trying to, push for these veteran superstars to be in an advantage, because what you're doing, man, when teams out there doing it right, building themselves up, and you push for superstars to be in a situation where they can manipulate the system and stack the deck, now you're undermining the competition right there. You're undermining it. You can't do that in the NFL. You see what I'm saying? You can't do that in baseball. You can win 100-some games in baseball, but postseason, if a pitcher is hot, he can shut down the whole lineup. But yeah, I just want to throw it out there real quick, man. It's time, man. It is time. It's been past time, man. There is no GOAT debate that outside of virtual reality. And when you talk about actual reality, there is no debate. None. Between the guy that they want to be pushed in that position versus the guy who earned the right to universally be considered the greatest player we've ever seen compete in the NBA. Period. End of discussion. But like I said, I've moved. I don't really get into GOAT talks, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't disrespect the history of the game, but I try to look forward to watching the present. You can do both. It can be done. And I root for these young squads, man. I really do. Because it's time, man. It's time. And once the NBA finally understands that, man, and break through this hex that they're in, watch everything flow like water, man. And the NBA will return back to what it's supposed to be. And you won't have no hockey player out there criticizing the lack of competitive zeal like we've seen this week. Guarantee it. We done seen the greatest. We done seen competition in the NBA at the highest level. We done seen it. We done witnessed it. And the fans who grew up during that time, man, we're longing for it again. We don't want to sit here and talk about, 30 years ago every freaking day, although we really don't do it as much as newfound fans that's been led astray to carry out an agenda when they don't even realize it. We want it, man. We want to see these guys out here compete and respect them. That's all we want, man. We don't be sitting up here every day talking about who the GOAT. That's played out, man. That's tired. It's like they don't know what else to talk about because they disrespect the game. That's why they being led to disrespect the game. That's the whole problem. So I just want to throw that out there, man. And until next time, let's go. Let's go. Real teams. I'm rooting for y'all, man. Y'all deserve it. Y'all deserve it. Y'all doing it the right way. So Cleveland OKC meet up, man. I'm going to have my popcorn ready. And I know it's going to be a great series. And I can't wait. Or if it's Denver, or if it's, as long as it's real. As long as it's real, I'm going to tune in, dog. I'm tired of this whole era, man. And like I said, it's not about talent. It's about mentality or the lack thereof. The superstar mentality has to be built back up again and restored. And you won't be seeing all this manipulation. Superstars want to team up because that shouldn't be taking place anyway. But until next time, leave comments, share your opinions and thoughts. I love to hear your feedback. Until next time, JB for BTB. Behind the bench, y'all.